I left work early, skipped bonus dinner, and took a $540 flight for Christmas Eve. My chair had a sticky note, reserved for Brian's fiancée. She's new here, my mom said. We figured you'd be fine standing. I said sure, then picked up my bag and left. 31 minutes later, my sister texted. So sensitive. It wasn't a big deal. I opened my app, paused the family support. But what my dad said at 9:04 p.m. changed everything. I flew across the country for this. A $540 one-way ticket. Left the office at noon, skipped the company bonus dinner, threw everything into a duffel and sprinted for the airport. Because family mattered. Because I still believed showing up counted for something. I hadn't seen them in person since last Christmas. We'd done the group video calls, the birthday texts, the miss you too emojis. But this year, I was coming home. I imagined the smell of roasted ham, the way my mom always burned the first batch of cookies, how Dad pretended not to cry during the midnight prayer. I imagined my seat at the table. Turns out, it was already taken. Literally. I walked into the dining room, snow still melting in my hair, holding a half-soggy gift bag with Dad's favorite whiskey inside, and saw the post-it note first. A little pink square stuck on the back of a dining chair. Reserved for Brian's fiancée. That's it. No joke. No haha gotcha. Just those 5 words in Mom's handwriting. I stood there, blinking at the note like it might disappear if I squinted hard enough. Oh, Mom said, stepping out of the kitchen with her usual smile, as if I hadn't crossed 3 time zones for this dinner. She's new here, she added with a shrug. We figured you'd be fine standing. Standing. Like a waiter. Or worse, like I didn't belong. I said sure. Quietly. Automatically. Then I turned around, picked up my bag, and left. I made it 31 minutes down the icy road before my phone buzzed. So sensitive. It wasn't a big deal. From my sister. Not even a name. Just that. I stared at the message, heart pounding, thumb trembling above the reply button. Then I opened my banking app. Paused the family support transfers. Done. But what my dad said at 9:04 p.m. changed everything. It wasn't the post-it note. Not really. That was just the match. The gas had been leaking for years. I didn't drive back to my hotel. I parked at a gas station down the road, watched the snow thicken across my windshield, and let the heat blast until my ears burned. Then I started thinking. The truth is, I've always been the one who made it easy for them. When I got my first tech job, Dad said, now you can finally take care of your family. Not in a joking way. In that heavy-handed, serious tone that meant, start paying the bills. So I did. I started covering their internet, their car insurance, even their winter heating. Quietly. Automatically. Because that's what good sons do, right? Brian. He was the dreamer. Dropped out of college, spent 2 years couch surfing and finding himself. When he came back, broke and bruised from a failed ski startup, I let him live with me for 9 months. Rent-free. I even paid for the therapy sessions he claimed would get his focus back. When Mom needed dental surgery last year, guess who paid the $3,400 bill not covered by insurance? Me. When Dad's old Ford broke down and he needed a reliable ride to church, who co-signed the lease on a new one? Me. I never complained. Never brought it up. Even when I had to skip vacations. Even when I was eating peanut butter for lunch while wiring money for someone else's cable bill. So when my sister texted, so sensitive, I wanted to throw my phone into the snow. I didn't. Instead, I opened our family group chat, scrolled through months of messages, and started noticing the pattern. Every time I shared a win, a promotion, a work trip, a raise, it got 1 or 2 nice replies. Meanwhile, Brian's new girlfriend baking cookies, 27 comments, 3 heart emojis, and Mom writing, she's such a keeper. It didn't stop there. I remembered last July, when I flew in to surprise Mom for her birthday. I got in at midnight, slept on the couch because Brian had taken my old room temporarily, and woke up to find them gone. They'd taken Brian's fiancée, his then-girlfriend, wine tasting. I found a note on the fridge. Be back by 5. Make yourself comfortable. They didn't even save me a slice of cake. But I still paid the next month's gas bill. Because that's what I was raised to do. Provide. Be the stable one. The invisible one. Brian. He could waltz in with debt, bad credit, a woman he met 3 months ago. And not only did they move heaven and earth to accommodate her, they gave her my chair. That sticky note wasn't just a seating arrangement. It was a message. You're not needed anymore. So I made some calls. Canceled my auto transfers. Notified the accountant to pause the family trust contributions I'd been adding to for years because Dad wanted a retirement plan that didn't involve the IRS. Then, for the first time in years, I did something completely selfish. I ordered takeout. Thai. Extra spicy. Sat in that hotel room alone with my laptop open, Netflix running, and for once, I felt nothing but clarity. Until 9:04 p.m. That's when Dad called. I stared at the screen for a moment, debating if I should answer. My finger hovered, then tapped. Hey, I said, flat. There was a pause. The kind that fills with meaning. You left, he said. Sure did. Your mom's upset. She's also the one who gave my chair away. Another pause. Longer this time. She didn't mean anything by it. Sure. Let's say she didn't. What about Brian texting me 2 hours ago asking if I could help fund their wedding next summer? Silence. Right? I said. You didn't know that part. Dad sighed. Deep. Heavy. Familiar. You know how things are. Brian's not as fortunate as you. Fortunate. I laughed. No, Dad. Brian's reckless. I'm responsible. There's a difference. He's getting better. She's good for him. She's sitting in my chair. Don't be dramatic. And there it was. The golden phrase. The one they always used when I dared to speak up. I closed my eyes, pinched the bridge of my nose. You know what, Dad? I'm done being the guy who works 60 hours a week so everyone else can play pretend. I'm done being your safety net. We never asked for it. That's nonsense, I snapped. You expected it. You think because I never complained, I'm okay with it. Well, here's the truth. I'm not. I haven't been for a long time. Silence. Then, softly, son, it's Christmas Eve. And I'm spending it alone in a motel next to a gas station. Because you needed Brian's fiancée to feel welcome more than you needed your son at the table. Dad didn't speak again. So I ended the call. And that was the last time I heard from him for 4 days. I didn't plan to go back. Not after what they did. Not after what they didn't do. But then Brian called me. 3 days after Christmas. His number flashed on my screen and my first instinct was to ignore it. But curiosity's a cruel thing. I answered. What? There was hesitation. Then, hey, man. So, weird question. Did you cancel the family support transfers? I leaned back in my chair. Yeah. You didn't tell anyone. Wasn't required. Okay, he said, slowly. Well, things are kind of tight. The January mortgage bounced. I'm aware. Silence. Then, in the softest, fakest voice I've ever heard him use, maybe we could talk? I laughed. Hard. Oh, now you want to talk. What changed, Brian? Run out of post-it notes. It was just a seat, bro. No, it was a message. You and Mom made that pretty clear. I hung up. 5 minutes later, Mom texted. Mom, can we meet for coffee? Please. It's not what you think. I didn't reply, because I already knew what was coming. Dad called that night. I let it ring. He left a voicemail. I think we need to talk. Face to face. Sunday dinner. I stared at the phone, heart hammering. Sunday dinner. My old ritual. Pot roast, apple pie. Everyone pretending they weren't quietly bleeding me dry. Something inside me said, go, but not to reconcile. To end it. I showed up Sunday evening. Knocked once and let myself in like I always had. The house was clean. Suspiciously clean. Like they were staging a peace treaty. Mom came out first, apron on. You came, she said, smiling like we hadn't erased each other over Christmas. Dad was in the armchair, holding his reading glasses like he wanted to seem occupied. Brian and his fiancée were on the couch. She wouldn't even look at me. Probably embarrassed. Good. Dinner's almost ready, Mom chirped. No need, I said. I'm not here to eat. Everyone froze. I'm here for one reason. To say some things I should have said years ago. Sweetheart, Mom began. No, I interrupted. You don't get to sweetheart me. Not after what you pulled. It was just a post-it note? You think this is about that chair? I laughed. That was the cherry. The Sunday? Is 20 years of you all treating me just the dependable one, never seen as a person, only as a solution. Brian scoffed. Dude, you're being dramatic again. Don't. Just don't. I turned to Dad. You let it happen. You watch me work overtime, pay your bills, cancel my vacations, while you threw parties for this fool when he remembered to tie his shoes. You let him sit in my seat and ask me for money in the same breath. And the worst part? You all thought I'd just keep doing it. Dad stood. Slow. We never asked you to. Exactly. You expected it. Because I never said no. Brian leaned forward. You were always the one with money. You don't even have kids. It wasn't a big deal. I turned to him, fire in my chest. You know what is a big deal? Working 60-hour weeks so mom can have cable, and you can plan a rustic vineyard wedding for your Tinder match. I was good enough to pay for your therapy, but not good enough to sit down at the dinner table. Got it. Mom looked like she was about to cry. We didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean anything. That's the problem. You never thought. Not about me. Only about what I could give. The room was silent. Then I pulled the envelope from my jacket and tossed it on the table. What's this? Dad asked. Your taxes. I won't be doing them this year. You'll need a new CPA. Wait, what? Mom looked confused. I transferred the car lease back to your name. Cut off the insurance. You've got 60 days before the health coverage under my name expires. Oh, and Brian. He looked up, confused. That wedding fund you asked about? Spend it on chairs. Because I'm not coming. You're not serious, Mom gasped. Oh, I'm dead serious. You made room for someone else. I'm choosing to make space for myself now. And I walked out. They didn't follow me. They didn't stop me. This time they knew. When I left that house, I expected silence. What I didn't expect was how peaceful that silence would feel. The kind of silence that wraps around you like armor. No buzzing phone, no guilt-tipped requests, no can you just help out this one time. That always turned into a dozen times. Just quiet. On Monday, I walked into my office with a smile that startled the receptionist. You win the lottery? She asked. I laughed. Kind of. I didn't explain. But that was the first day in years I drank my coffee hot. Ate lunch without checking my bank balance after wiring someone a rent payment. Slept through the night without waking up to a text from Brian saying, Bro, can you help out just until Friday? By Wednesday, the text started. First, Mom. Honey, your father's upset. He says we need to talk. Please come by this weekend. Ignored. Then Brian. Hey man, Dad says you canceled their dental insurance? That's messed up, Brian. Also, do you still have the login to the Hulu account? We can't get in. I blocked him. Then came the call from Dad. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail that started calm and ended like a threat. I just don't understand how you can abandon your family like this. After everything we've done for you. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. After everything they'd done for me? You mean like giving my chair to a stranger? Like taking every financial bailout I offered and still making me feel like the difficult child every time I set a boundary? Nah, not this time. They expected me to cave, to feel guilty, to walk it back like I always did. Instead, I did something worse, for them, anyway. I thrived. I signed up for a 2-week photography retreat in Oregon, something I'd always wanted to do but never could afford because I was always covering someone else's bills. I rejoined my gym, took long walks, deleted the family group chat, blocked my sister when she added me back. I got drinks with a few coworkers and for once didn't lie about why I looked so tired all the time. I told the truth. My family's a financial black hole. I finally cut the cord. One guy raised a glass. Respect. That word meant something different now. Respect wasn't not making waves. It was saying, no more. But then came the call. 9:04 p.m. Exactly 2 weeks after the Christmas Eve fiasco. I almost didn't answer. The number was blocked. But something made me swipe. Hello. The voice on the other end was quiet. Raw. Hey, it's Dad. He sounded older. Tired. Okay. I'm at the hospital, he said. I sat up. What happened? Your mother collapsed in the kitchen. Dehydration. Stress. Doctor says it's nothing fatal, but she's shaken. And she's been crying. Asking for you. I said nothing. You made your point, he added. Loud and clear. But maybe now you can stop punishing us. My blood boiled. Punishing you? You think I'm punishing you because I stopped being your ATM? I'm just saying your mom. My mom let me walk out of Christmas dinner like a ghost. Don't drag her tears into this now. Silence. Then, quietly, she told me about the chair. Said it was her idea. She thought Brian's fiancée would feel awkward otherwise. And it never occurred to anyone that I might feel unwelcome. We didn't mean it that way. That's the problem. You never mean it that way. But it's always the same story. I give, and you take. Another silence. Then he whispered, I miss you, son. Something twisted in my chest. Not pain. Not regret. Just clarity. I miss who you used to be too, I said. Before you sold me out for convenience. And I hung up. Days passed. Then I got a message. Not from Brian. From her. Brian's fiancée. The girl who took my seat. Text, hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. But I just wanted to say, I didn't know. Pause. Another message. Text. Your mom told me you'd be late. Said you weren't staying long. I only found out what happened after you left. If I'd known, I never would have taken your chair. And then, the kicker. Text. Brian told me you were rich. That you'd be fine standing. That you don't care about family stuff anyway. I'm so sorry. For a second, I didn't know what to feel. But the truth hit like a punch. He knew I was coming. He told her to take my chair. He knew what it would do. And he wanted it. Because deep down, Brian had always hated what I represented: responsibility, success, consequences. He was the chaos they coddled. I was the anchor they leaned on and resented. Well, not anymore. The next week, I got a formal email from my parents. Subject: resolution proposal. Attached was a PDF full of budgets, timelines, plans for independence. It read like a business pitch. A desperate one. They were trying to prove they could manage without me. Begging for a second chance. Asking for transitional support of 3 more months, then full financial separation. I stared at the numbers, then hit delete. By March, the calls stopped. By April, I was off every shared account. By May, I booked a trip to Barcelona. Alone. And somewhere between the plane ride and that first bite of tapas, I realized something I never dared to believe before. I didn't need them. Not like they'd made me believe. Not to define me. Not to validate me. And certainly not to own me. Barcelona was loud. It wasn't the traffic, or the people, or even the festivals. It was the way the world felt louder when you finally stepped out of someone else's shadow. I wandered the Gothic quarter with my phone in airplane mode. No family group chats. No Brian texts. No, just one more lone, bro voicemails. Just the sound of my boots on ancient cobblestones and the thrill of silence, earned, not given. Every night, I watched the sunset from a different corner of the city. On the 4th night, a stranger asked to join my table at a rooftop bar. She had wild curls and eyes that didn't apologize for looking straight through you. We talked for hours. About everything and nothing. She asked me where I was from. I said, used to be a family man. Now I'm just a man. She laughed. Sounds like freedom. I nodded. Finally. Back home, life didn't pause. I got promoted. Led systems architect. It was the kind of position people fought for: meetings with board members, input on company direction. My manager told me, you've been under the radar too long. People are starting to notice. That hit differently. For years, I was the guy who quietly held things together, at work, at home, everywhere. Now, people didn't just need me. They respected me. It was the first time in my life I didn't feel like a utility. In June, something unexpected arrived at my door. A wedding invitation. Brian and his fiancée. Rustic Vineyard. July 16th. RSVP deadline. June 30th. I placed it on my kitchen counter. Let it sit there like a test I already knew the answer to. The envelope was cream. Thick stock. Expensive. Inside, next to the RSVP card, was a handwritten note from her. I hope you'll come. He still doesn't understand what he did, but I think part of him is scared to admit it. You were right to walk away, but maybe he needs to see you stand your ground in person. I stared at that note a long time, then tossed it in the trash. July 16th. The day of the wedding. I spent it at a beach in Santa Cruz, riding a rented bike along the cliffs, letting the salt wind blast through me like a reboot. I didn't check my phone until after sunset. One missed call. Mom. One message. Mom. He kept looking at the door. All night. Like he was waiting for you. I stared at it. Didn't reply. Not because I wanted to punish him, but because I was done playing savior for people who never saved a seat for me. August brought a surprise. I ran into Brian's fiancée, now wife, at a bookstore. She looked thinner, paler, like someone trying too hard to smile through broken glass. She saw me, froze, then walked over. I didn't expect to see you, she said. I live here, I said. She hesitated. Then, we moved back in with your parents. Of course they did. They offered, she said quickly. Said it was just temporary. Brian's job didn't pan out. He's still figuring things out. Always is. She looked down at her hands. He's not handling things well. Not my problem. Then she looked up, eyes rimmed in red. I know. I wish you were his brother. That stayed with me longer than I expected. Not because I felt sorry for him, but because for the first time, someone saw it. I didn't respond. Just nodded. Then walked out with my book. September. My birthday. I didn't expect anything. Wasn't waiting for it. But just before noon, a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a plain black box. A folded card. One line. You were right. About everything. I'm sorry. Inside was the whiskey I'd brought to Christmas Eve. Still sealed. They'd never opened it. I sat there, staring at the bottle. Then stood up, walked to my balcony, and opened it myself. Poured a glass. To no one but me. By November, I'd sold my condo and moved out of state. New place. Bigger windows. New furniture. No ghosts. The final step? I changed my number. Deleted the old backups. Burned the last bridge. But just before I did, I wrote one message. Copied it. Sent it to Mom. Dad. Brian. Same message. No room for negotiation. This is the last message you'll receive from me. I'm not angry. I'm just done. I gave you everything I had for years. Time, money, love, patience. You used it, spent it, and called it normal. Then you left me standing. Literally. I'm not standing anymore. I'm walking away. For good. No hard feelings. Just hard boundaries. Goodbye. Sent. And I finally let go. Peacefully. And here's the part that really matters. I don't miss them. Not the guilt. Not the manipulation. Not the awkward silences that came after every no I dared to say. Not the invisible weight of being the family support beam while they built castles on my back. I miss who I used to be around them. The guy who thought being needed was the same as being loved. He's gone now. And in his place is someone stronger, smarter, freer. So yeah, maybe I missed Christmas dinner. Maybe I stood outside a house I paid for, holding a gift no one wanted. But walking away? That was the greatest gift I ever gave myself. And the last gift I'll ever give them.